Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, weekly Wing It number 100 here on Rumble and YouTube.
Woo!
And tonight we're talking Metroidvanias. And starting off with me tonight is Mrs. R.H. Snow. Mrs. Snow, how have you been?
Oh my gosh, Wrangler, I had no idea tonight was your 100th. I was just like, man, it's time for Weekly Wing It. I want to check in. And I was like, oh, you're having a magical moment. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm touching the screen right now. I'm touching it. I can feel the future. I feel the future. Okay, so like all those people now that are going to find that 6 years from now, I love you. Bet on Tesla. Okay, good job. Okay. All right. Yay. So we have visited the future. Isn't that awesome, Wrangler? Isn't that great?
All right. And joining us in the chat tonight, first in is Christina. Christy, how you been?
Christina.
And Maji, she would much rather be on the panel, but she, as she says in her chat right there, she's stuck in retail hell. So she's listening from work, but she's here with us in spirit. She says, have a blast, guys.
My sweetie.
You're also in the chat.
I know. That's how I started out. I was like, what? What? Oh, my gosh.
Have you not been getting the links?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. You're still listed in the, if you go in the description, you'll find all the links to everybody who appears on panel on a regular basis. You're still there. I thought you just couldn't make it lately because of scheduling.
No, well, my schedule's been really crazy. That's the first thing. Yeah, because we're building a house, which is like super awesome, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's that way. But so it's been like every week it's been something coming up, and there's just been, and my son got married, which is like sort of a thing.
Oh, congratulations.
Hey, read out, get over here. Right now. Oh, no,
he said he was going to try and make it. I think he's juggling a bunch of stuff at once.
Transferring files. That's terrible. But look who's up in your other corner. Look at him. Look at his little ducky face.
It looks a lot like. Billy Bob Sack.
I have not seen that intro, and that is quite possibly the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
All right. Well, I can't be here long because I'm in the ass end of nowhere.
What? What?
That sounds uncomfortable.
That sounds really uncomfortable. How did you end up in nowhere?
Business. Can't talk about it.
Well, you have to be here because I come on and then suddenly, I can't be here. And I am your number one only Gremlins fan. And that intro that we saw right there, that's the kind of content that I paid for. It was absolutely nothing, evidently, but it's because you don't have it set up for subscriptions yet. But yeah.
Fruman Blue has also joined us tonight. Hail, Foo! And also in the chat is Animation Overload. He says congrats on 100 episodes. And let's not forget the ultimate kahuna. He says, yo. But in reality, we know he's saying, woo!
Dang, you got that.
Funny enough.
I can't woo as good as he does.
I think we're about to come up on like the 1 year, isn't it?
Dude, no.
It's close to 2 years.
Yeah, because you're like, it's 52 weeks in a year, Billy Bob.
Yeah, about Christmas time will be 2 years.
I don't know. We done this on I think before or after Christmas. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like right after Christmas. I think it was like New Year's we started.
Really?
No, it was in December.
Oh, it was. It was right before New Year's. It was whatever Monday fell right before New Year's.
I'm trying to think if I thought y'all had been going on. The first time I showed up, I think you had already had like a couple of episodes or something. And I was like y'all have been around. You've just been here, you know. You're like part of the landscape. Like I can't, like a Mount Rushmore of thoughts.
We blend into the rocks.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I can't believe it's been 2 years, bro. That's a lot of excitement. Do you have like clips that we can show of people having fails and stuff? Is this the blooper reel time that we're gonna do?
Well, we are ever present blooper reel. We don't need old clips.
Don't need to have clips.
Oh wait, Kahuna's in the chat, so I'm sure Billy Bob could open them up.
Get over here.
Oh wait, you're on your phone, right? So it's probably not so simple.
No, that's easy.
I'm on my
Frequency. Mine is worse than yours. Mine is Earth Day. The most hippie fucking dumb shit is on my birthday.
I actually that would be cooler than Valentine's Day, all right?
No.
I actually don't mind the hippie shit. I'm an amalgamation of a hippie, a redneck,
Oh,
and a
look
nerd.
at Christian.
Kahuna, did you just warp to another reality?
We just briefly saw the time vortex.
When we talk about going down the rabbit hole, we don't mean literal.
Yes, that's what it looks like. That's what my brain looked like last week.
That's like somebody toss him a mushroom quick.
Trippy's gonna be watching the stream like, whoa, what the fuck did I just take?
I almost forgot about that one.
You get criticized either way. I tried both ways.
Well, that's impressive.
I had to pull something out of my butthole, and that was the best I could come up with.
Where's the other one?
Oh yeah, AC, it was your fault I was shirtless at that party too. He came out, give me a hug, and it exploded. It went everywhere. And then I was shirtless for 6 hours. That was fun.
Oh, you know what I did last Tuesday?
What?
So, me and Otter were joking about traps and stuff, like anime traps. If you know what that is.
No. Do I need to know? Is it something scary?
No. Well, I mean, to a straight man, it's very scary.
I know what traps are in some cases, and I may not be able to say it on here. What?
Well, anyways, there's a character from Konosuba anime.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to send Frederick while he was on, I forgot who it was, other channel like Comicsgate, weekly channel, whatever he's on.
Comicsgate Commandos.
Yeah. So I sent him Sylvia and I told him, hey, get him to rate it on the live thing. But the character is a fucking dude.
Nah. Okay, so I was right. That is that kind of trap. Oh my gosh.
So I got done that to fuck with them.
Aw. You're good.
Well, anyway, the readout says, I was half expecting to see the TARDIS in that spiral, referring to the Kahuna warp clip there.
Yes.
He says, we don't have a blooper reel here. We got a Kahuna reel.
So you got that. Well,
And Kahuna says, congrats on your son's wedding.
Thank you. There's a lot going on with every. Oh, Billy Bob would never corrupt me. He's pure. Look at his little face. Look at his little face. He's pure.
Hold up, Readout. First of all, she's the reason that there's an Only Gremlin Substack.
I know.
Well,
I consider that the highlight of my life.
then we
Blue
got
Man Blue says, a lot of people don't know this, but the ultimate Kahuna hates shirts.
This is true. It's very true.
Stay safe out there, Trip. The power grid needs you.
I miss Trippy. I wish he would have a chance to come back on here again. I guess he works second shift now, so he's like,
Oh man,
whenever we're on, he's at work.
I'm gonna hunt him down.
Oh, and then I'm gonna play this clip to get frequency.
Okay, do it. Shit.
Luckily, Hayes was not. Actually, I have the headphones on tonight, so he normally I'm just talking into the laptop microphone. I'm using this microphone with the headphones, so the computer speakers aren't blasting through the room. So even if Hayes was in here, he wouldn't have heard it. He'll just attack me anyway. Read out.
I have returned.
Read out! Yay!
Hi.
I see Emily out there. Yay! Hi, Justin.
Emily says, "Sup, gang? Congrats on 100. Thank you, Emily." Yeah, if you want to hop in here, let me know. I'll send you the link.
Come on.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have
Oh,
to
nice.
go now. So
What?
see y'all later.
He made his cameo. He can leave now.
Listen, I was only able to shout for a little bit.
Okay, Billy Bob.
He's
you-
out in the middle of nowhere on his cell phone. What happens if he runs out of battery?
Yeah,
Okay.
look at that. Look at that.
I need
Nothing.
him there.
Nothing here.
He's getting abducted by the aliens.
Dude, for real, where are
There's
you?
nothing here.
Where are you?
I'm literally. Let me put it like this: if it wasn't for the Wi-Fi, there would be no phone service. That's where I'm at.
Congratulations on finding the outer realms.
All right. Well, see y'all later, guys.
We
Thanks
love
for
you.
stopping in, man.
I love you, Billy Bob.
We need the Kahuna meme of "We're in the middle of nowhere," and there's no echo. The corn absorbs his echo.
Oh,
Kahuna says, by the way, unrelated, I'm showering. Shower gang, where you at?
that is awesome. We come out of your shower and come here.
He's been known to stream in the shower.
Oh no, don't.
Yeah,
Bill.
he has.
That's
It's
why-
not how it sounds. At least I don't think he intends it how it sounds.
That's true.
He's recorded how many videos from the shower? He's hopped in the live stream, holding his phone. He's in the shower.
That's awesome.
I've heard of a beer shower, but not a stream shower.
No, I'm not gonna stream shower, y'all. I'm past that point in my life, and I'm way past that point. So.
I don't think I was ever at the point where I had the confidence to show up on a live stream while in the shower.
Just
Yeah, I'll give this to Kahuna. He is very comfortable with himself to be able to do that.
Yes.
I could not.
if you drop the phone, it's all over. Though it's like, oh,
I go like the opposite direction. I'm like, oh, it's a special cage, and look at all the layers I'm wearing tonight on this stream. All this freaking wool weighing me down.
King Bob!
oh my gosh, it's King Bob. I love you, King
Home
Bob.
from first day of work. Just want to say congrats on 100. Have a good show. Thank you, King Bob, aka Gino. Check out his website. And I just went blank on what the 4H Foundation.
Or
4F Foundation. 4H. 4F Foundation.
The 4F, and it is fantastic. It is freaking fantastic. Freedom Foundation. I think that's it. Yeah, for real. That's it. Oh no, I know people get on here.
It's a lot easier to hop in a chat when you're doing other stuff than to hop on a live stream. Well, getting into panels a whole nother ball game. Sometimes you just can't.
Oh, I know. Well, that's the cool part about having this show is it's so open. Like it's kind of like you could hop in and you can just say hi or something. There's some shows it's like, man, you're there for the duration. It's like you're gonna be there and you're gonna stay there. Okay, all right. What? I know. Come on, Justin, get in here. Come on. You have time. Look at Readout. Readout has time. Readout has an entire garrison. And
I
he is
do.
still here. I'm a part of your garrison now, Readout.
You are part of the garrison. You are part of the Bastion of Historical Preservation. I do greatly appreciate it.
Did you see? I wondered if you would notice or not.
Oh, I noticed the moment I got off the stream.
I know. I was like, oh, he's got a garrison. I'm going to go join. I'm excited now. I'm part of the history thing.
Oh, really?
That is
Yeah.
true. I have Kahuna's figure. I will say that.
Yes, thank you for pulling that up, Readout. I'm putting the link to the 4F Foundation in the chat.
It's fantastic.
So, Evelyn, how do you carry all three of those? You have the hamburgers in one hand, and I guess you have the hot dogs in the other. Are you carrying the grenade in your mouth? You're holding the.
He's holding the pin in his teeth.
Yeah, he's holding the pin.
Yeah.
It's just dangling there, hoping he doesn't slide off.
Hoping gravity doesn't pull it.
Yeah, the grenade slides off. He's like, "Oh no!" Spits the pin the other
Wait,
way. He's like,
how
"Oh
are
wait,
you-
that's the one I wanted." That's uh-oh.
How are you gonna enjoy the burger and the glizzy? How are you gonna enjoy it?
Grenade pouch.
Oh,
There you
God.
go. Make sure you have it.
Gotta have your grenade.
What's up, Kahuna?
Shower and I heard my name, and here
Good.
I am.
We have
Oh,
summoned the
right.
Kahuna.
Oh no, you guys don't understand. Maybe it's like
Like whenever I go to my family's property. Oh, hello. Oh.
James, why did you invade the Kahuna's bathroom?
I do what I want and I go where I want.
Hondo, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Hope you're
You
all
came-
doing well.
Welcome to 100, James.
Thank you. It's
Yeah.
good to be here in 100. I'm currently hiding out in Readout's bathroom. Hope you're all doing
You
well.
ain't hiding out in my bathroom. You're hiding out in the Kahuna's.
I'm right behind him. We don't even know. We're about to high five each other.
Oh,
Just walk-
No,
someone just walked in here. Yeah, family white. I don't know why.
was it Billy Bob?
No.
Bob the Kahuna doesn't live in the middle of nowhere.
Anthony Rondinelli says, "We talking Metroidvanias? I love Axiom Verge." Yeah,
I've
that
heard of
we
that
actually
one,
have
yeah.
a topic tonight, and it's Metroidvanias. We haven't even gotten to it yet because, well, we've been so busy saying hi and having a good time doing it.
Hey, you're lucky that I know who Samus is merely through the osmosis of pop culture.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think you would have absorbed it from Wrangler at this point, though. I mean, come
Well,
on.
that too.
That too, because he's made my thumbnails. So
How did you absorb Samus through Wrangler? Well,
this really sounds like bad. That sounds bad.
Yeah, Wrangler. He's passing Samus around like you wouldn't believe. Wait a second. Wait.
What?
Oh. But no, it was funny. Like back on my grandma's property on Maui, growing up, all the water came from the river and it was gravity fed. So if there was a dry part of the year, you might run out of water sometime. And so, like my mom's sister was showering up top, and then suddenly she ran out of water. She just yells, "Don't look at me, I'm naked!" And she ran down like 40 steps of wood and stone down to the bottom of the property because the water would still be, maybe a little bit of water would be there, so she could finish up.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Man Blue says, "I'm so confused by the way Kahuna is making me feel right now."
You just get used to it after the 100th episode.
You stumped
Really?
me, Boo Man. You stumped me.
That's not easy to do.
I know. Oh yeah, Justin loves the Metroidvanias and Castlevania. He loves it. He loves those kind of games.
Metroidvanias with a Castlevania in the title. That would be the Castlevania series. By the
I
way,
know. I've been trying to play Symphony of the Night, but I can't. It's too much work for me to be able to play it on my PC. I need an emulator, and it's not working, and I don't know.
I have never played that one, believe it or not.
I enjoy Metroidvanias to an extent. I don't like the ones where you have to just continuously backtrack because I just instantly get lost every time.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's the two
lost.
types of Metroidvanias, though. Like Otter mentioned it earlier to me today, that he played Metroid Fusion and said it was unusually linear, but most of them give you some sequence breaking options, like the original Metroid and Super Metroid. You can do things in almost any order, but you got to figure out what you're doing. I think the thing with Metroid 2 and Metroid 4, which is Samus Returns and Fusion, those two were very linear. However,
Yeah.
Metroid 2 came out on the Game Boy, Metroid 4 came out on the Game Boy Advance, so those were made more linear probably because they were on portable devices. And if you walk away from a Metroidvania for a while and come back, you might have forgotten what the heck you were doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was an old Star Fox game that was kind of like it had like different, like 3 or 4 different branches you could go to get to 2 different endings. And at the time, as a child, I was like, "What? There's choice? I have a choice in a video game? Excuse me?"
Yeah, but Metroid was one of the first games to make you go, huh? Because what do you do when those games are first coming out? You always picked up the controller on a platformer and you started moving to the right. And the original Metroid, you pick it up, you start moving to the right, and you can't go any further. You have to turn around, go left to get a power up before you can go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it did little things like that to signal to you that this is a bit different.
I like how they like just dropped on us that Samus was like a hot warrior chick in like the coolest armor imaginable. But then I had the graphics from back then, so it's like, what does it matter anyway?
Oh yeah.
Christina asked, "Well, did this turn into soft porn?" No, it's just a kahuna in the shower.
You in the shower talking about games.
Who are you calling soft, Christina? Excuse me. I was hard for
Oh, that just got very uncomfortable very quick.
wait, that's not what I meant at all. Never mind.
The Lore Raiders joined us in the chat. He says, "Happy 100." Thank you, Lore Raider. Good to see you.
Wrangler, I'm happy to imagine that someone's going to come onto the stream for the first time, and then they're going to see me and just immediately leave.
What?
Readout says, "Yin's in the chat. Have you done your civic duty by touching the like button?" Oh, he said butt on. Call back to the Sunday coffee with a drink with Crazy when he would say, "Touch the butt, touch the butt."
Yep.
Be careful who you say that to. Anyway, I've distracted the stream long enough, Wrangler. Snow, Wrangler, Readout, James. Peace out, guys. Have a great night.
Have a great night, Kahuna.
I gotta go. I gotta get out of here, man.
See, it's a special episode tradition of we make cameos.
It's a cameo episode. It's like our episode on the Iron Seas. Everyone showed up. That Joe was freaking out because he doesn't like chaos. But anyway, peace out, guys. Have a great night.
Have a good one, Kahuna.
Hi, Star Fury.
Star Fury, what's up, man? He says, "Wow, YouTube censored my first post. Yippee!" He's like, "You're
Star Fury.
you only censored one."
What did you do?
Doesn't take much.
I know.
Oh yeah, that warning finally dropped off the channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When did you get a warning?
An episode that you were on, RH.
Which one did I do?
We did it last year, and it was about whether a certain conspiracy theory may have been the inspiration to the Dolph Lundgren movie "I Come in Peace," and we started discussing that theory. And I clipped it and put it up as an individual video, and that went up in November last year, and in February this year it got flagged for breaking the community guidelines. And of all people who said something that got flagged, it was what you said. I went back, watched it. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that, but YouTube had a problem with it, so I had to take. Yeah,
Let me know what it was.
YouTube doesn't like.
I can't say it on stream.
Okay?
You're kidding. Okay, text it to me afterwards, or
Yeah.
send me a DM so I'll know.
I had no problem with it, but YouTube did.
Well, I don't want to hurt somebody else's streams though, and if I don't know, because people,
it's not something that gets talked about a lot, but it has to do with removing certain like spinal fluids.
really, holy
Connecting
crud.
it to politicians. Yeah, that's what we were talking. You remember that, right?
No, we got. Well, I guess we were hitting the right buttons, weren't we all? Okay, fine.
Yep.
Fine.
But I didn't realize that I had the strike because I didn't look in the dashboard forever. And when I did, it was there, and I had to take a test, pass the test, and wait 3 months for the strike to fall off.
Kidding me that
It fell off this month.
I got you a community warning. Oh my gosh, that's not what I wanted for you.
It's like out of everybody who we have on the panel, the one person I would never expect YouTube to strike the show over was who they struck the show over. I was like,
so sorry.
you have nothing to apologize for. I had no problem with it.
Dude, that is crazy. Okay, all right. I'm going to be more careful now. I'm going to be like looking. I feel like I'm already a dangerous human because I'm on some lists in quote wink wink. You might know about this. It's been going around.
But that's okay. The episode's still up on Rumble.
Really? I'm gonna go back and watch it now. Find out what I said. I don't even know, y'all. That's great. I'm impressed with myself that I did all that. That's like, wow. Okay. I feel like probably somebody's following me. Like maybe there's a lurker that goes around like, I wonder what she'll say today. You know, it's like just go ahead and just post it real quick. You know. Oh, I'm proud of myself now. Not in a good way. Thank you, Wrangler, for not killing me for doing that. For sending that ugly message. great.
I was never upset with you for it.
my
I was
God.
like, I was kind of surprised. I guess half surprised. We came in. It was the clip was up there for a few months, and then we came into election time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, oh, it's an election year now. Everything's being.
Yeah, they retroactively strike stuff.
That's nuts.
Man Blue says Pirate Radio with RH Snow.
Woohoo! I would probably get struck for what I'm about fixing to say about that because I can tell you right now it's doable. It is absolutely doable. Oh my gosh.
Star Fury says, I suggested the British should return and cauterize the Casablanca.
Oh my gosh. That's cruel.
Aren't we all on the list?
Yeah. Point we certainly are. That's great.
So, how much have you guys played Metroidvanias?
Me personally, okay, there's a couple of them that I'm going to throw out there. I don't even know if anybody else has ever played them. The Guardian Legend, it's NES. I have 2 NES games that I really love that I just played the fool out of. And Guardian Legend is one. And I don't know if anybody else has played it. It was considered to be one of the. Oh, Daniel P. Raleigh, hi, love you, Daniel. That's my alpha reader right
He is
there.
the list.
Yes, the
It's,
giant is here. Daniel P. Riley from Whimsyland.
He is the one.
The one. That's impressive, bro. I'm so proud of you. Yeah,
Metroid skips leg day.
True. But yeah, Guardian Legend would really loved it because it has notoriously difficult gameplay. The passwords that you had to load in each time to get back to your game were just absolutely brutal. They were like 26 letters long and uppercase, lowercase. You had to go back and do it with that little switch thing because you couldn't just type it in.
It's like inputting a VIN number.
Yeah, no, dude, it was that long, and it was probably, I would classify it as a Metroidvania game because it did have that open world feel. You would break into places where you could explore little dungeons and things. When you got to the room, then it would turn to a side scroller again. So you'd have the top down view, but it was always, back in the what was it, 1980 something? I think it's 1988. Yeah. And it was actually just so much fun to play. I loved it. And it was had a lot in common with Galaga. If you've ever played Galaga, some of the portions where you have to do the back and forth shooters. But then
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not recognizing this, so I am looking it up.
Evelyn,
Oh!
Did you play?
Thank you.
Did for
All right, Snow, thank you.
What?
This is a game I remember but couldn't remember the name of, and I've been trying to figure it out forever.
Yes, I love Guardian Legend. If I can get my NES to actually crank itself back up, I would play Guardian Legend over again.
Yeah, now Everly Music says Guardian Legend rips. The soundtrack is boss AF.
Yes, and the other game that I would put in this list is also Guardian Legend, just because it has the same kind of setup. You're actually playing a female-based robot type little fighter jet.
Yeah, kind of Transformer. Kind of when Transformer went from a person into a fighter jet.
Yeah.
I have been trying to figure out what that game was. It's in my head. I remember playing it. I remember being addicted to it, but I could not remember the name. So I could never look the game up.
No, that's always frustrating. And the other one that I played was Legacy of the Wizard, which, if anybody's ever played that, it's the same kind of, it is a Metroidvania type game, in that you break through into these little worlds and you get to explore. And it is side scroller fun. It's one of those dungeon type ones that you talked about getting stuck where you can't go forward and you can't move. You could literally get trapped in the bottom of a well and not ever be able to get out unless you did the right maneuvers earlier in the sequence. And so for whatever reason, I absolutely adored that game. So Legacy of the Wizard is another one that I would probably put into Metroidvanias. And I'm sure I played other ones, but those are the two that stand out.
Is that the one where you're like this little night guy? You walk into some towers and you... No, I'm thinking of something else.
You're thinking of something else. Now there is on my PC, for instance, I have a Linux. I think it's a Dungeon Delver type that they've had for forever. They're randomly generated. Oh, what is the name of it? It's kind of like Zork, but it's actually it's a like a 8-bit character. And I love it. I love any of those side scroller games to begin with, especially if you're getting a chance to sort of explore dungeons and go run around with things. Man, I gotta look that up. The name of that. I don't want to open up my computer right now. It's one of those ones that'll occur to me later. But I think that Legacy of the Wizard and the Guardian Legend stand out to me. First of all, Guardian Legend, yes, just because the soundtrack is so freaking awesome. And then the Legacy of the Wizard because of the difficulty of the gameplay and the fact that you could get so far and you just couldn't go any further. It also forced you to move between 4 different characters. And I really enjoyed. You had to change your tactic each time you would move from them. You played a whole family, so you'd play the father, you'd play the mother, you'd play the little kid, and I think you played like the little dragon, the little dragon character. And so it forced you each time to change your tactic when you were coming through, and you had certain things that you could play each time. I'm trying to think. Would you consider the Mega Man groups to be a Metroidvania?
Not exactly.
Because you
No.
can't recognize the world.
Yeah, there's like it's a series of levels you could play in any order on Mega Man, but it's not an interconnected world where you go in here and by acquiring new abilities and power-ups, it allows you to access other areas you couldn't before, and that is what produces the progression. In most cases, there are some that turn out very linear, and it still does that formula, but most people prefer the ability to sequence break in a Metroidvania. Like there is the intended path. If it's more narrative dependent, then it kind of locks you into a very specific set of sequences. But if it's not as story heavy, then you can do things out of order, skip things altogether if you really know what you're doing. But like Metroid Fusion and Metroid Samus Returns, those two were very linear. Also, this one gets some people hot on the collar. Metroid Other M.
Really?
That one torqued a lot of people off. However, that still has that sort of that one was very much story dependent. I appreciate what Sakamoto was trying to do. Pretty much, he wanted you to be able to play the movie. Yeah, he did it up as a movie, but just some of the writing really didn't land well with the Metroid fans.
Well, okay, so then if we're going to go there, you're saying you can actually, if you can break the programming, if it's not intended to do it, but you can break the programming, would it be considered a Metroidvania? Because so hear me out. If you play Super Mario Brothers on NES the right way, you can make it into almost into a Metroidvania because you actually can go bust the programming, skip the levels, and actually kind of go where you want to go, especially if you end the game and then you are into the ABC levels where you go into the alphabet levels. I don't know what it. I guess it doesn't quite make it because we don't have the ability to go different parts of the world.
Backtrack. You can't backtrack. You can only go one direction. It's a series of levels. You can skip levels, but it's not an interconnected world where there's a heavy element of exploration.
Okay, that's the part I'm missing because I've never thought of these games as Metroidvanias. You said it, and I'm like, dude, I got to figure out what this is because I know I've played them. I just don't know which ones they are. And then when you brought that up, I was like, okay, how do I count? So many times I'll play a game and I have no idea. Remember, I'm playing this. Okay, so as you all know, I'm older than all y'all put together, combining everybody.
Are you older than me though, ma'am?
Oh, what? Oh, dude.
What's up, Crow? Have a great night, Christy. Thanks for stopping in.
Food and to stop crying when you sneeze. I love you. Don't cry. Don't cry, Christina. Go eat a snack. Go eat some ice cream. No, you don't feel bad. Don't feel bad trolling me. I love you. Okay.
Yeah, he says he'll get over it.
Yeah, he'll get over it. It'll be all right. No, now I lost track of what I was saying. Dang it. That's what I'm older than all y'all. That's what happens when you get older. So yes, I am older than all y'all combined. I probably could. Okay, let's find out. What is the combined age of this group right now?
Combined
age, yep, combined age.
I think I'm the ace card on that one because I'm turning 50 in a couple months.
Okay, let's get it. Come on, who's next? Read out. You're 13. Okay, let's move on.
You're up next, Read out.
Ma'am.
And it just got easier to beat that because now we have a bigger combined number.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
Wait.
just got-
Now, if we throw an honor into that numbers, I don't know how much that's going to gain.
Maybe
What's
we might
the point of
subtract.
honor?
Let's
Really?
take a pause for a
Wait,
moment.
what's going on?
I don't know. We're trying to combine the age of this stream.
RH Snow said she's probably older than all of us combined. And then I mentioned that I'm just a couple months shy of 50. And then you hopped in, giving us more people. And
I know. So I can't,
now she's feeling younger because
yeah, I'm feeling younger now.
Well, it's good to know that I'm contributing.
You're contributing to our.
You're not contributing
Evelyn Music
clams,
says
though.
people love Hollow Knight.
Clams, fish, rocks, whatever
You have not given your daily taxes of clams and broken skulls there, Lord Potter.
Well, I've got the fish. I'm working on the Vulcan skulls. Give me a second.
Vulcan skulls are outdated and worthless in this economy, sir. Human skulls are all the rage.
Inflation has hurt us all.
I don't know.
Wait,
they may
this
have more
is a
value than the
rip-off.
U.S. dollar right now.
This is a ripoff. If you're asking Vulcan skulls from me and they're out of date, what the heck?
Did you not know that the value of Vulcan skulls have gone down since Star Trek has gone down to shitter, sir? You should study the economy a lot
That's fair.
easier.
That is fair.
Bitcoin is way more valuable now.
Well, anyway, Evelyn Music says Metroidvania people love Hollow Knight. That is true. But he says Symphony of the Night is the best one of all time, still so good. I need to play that someday. I have never had the chance to play Symphony of the Night.
Well, I keep on trying to get my so I have a Linux that's like the $1 million old. You know, it's like okay, right now
But
it's a
I have played Hollow Knight.
it's like a 2013 HP 600 or whatever because I like my stuff old so nobody can backwards hack it, and so I have that. And so I can't play anything newer anyway, but I keep on thinking, okay, I'm going to get a wine emulator. I'm going to go ahead and run all my stuff. But I have still not figured out how to make run. I know that every other people run DOS emulators. So if y'all run a DOS emulator, please let me know. Because there are so many games I'm trying to play on my ancient Linux box, and I can't.
Oh,
Whose mic
actually.
is that? Someone's got a little open mic there.
I think it's Stormcrow's mic. There's a lot of white noise coming through.
Yeah, it was kind of drowning out stuff.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yay.
Okay, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was pretty good too.
By the
There's
way,
a lot of Metroidvanias, but after you gave me the explanation of what is a Metroidvania, I think the only one I ever played, assuming this falls within the category, I think it does, is Castle Crashers.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's where it's just like an online sort of. You know what? Would it? No, I'm taking it back. No, it's not. It's more of like a level based, but you get to like move throughout the levels as you wish and complete separate tasks and stuff. So I've played none. There you go.
I'm guessing we've already mentioned some of the Soulsborne games if we're talking
Not
Metroidvania.
yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I do believe you're going to fill me in on that. Now, I've heard quite often lately people use the description Souls-like for a video game, and I have never played Dark Souls, but I've heard it lumped in with Metroidvanias quite a bit. So,
Dude,
what's that about?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, RH.
No, I got as far as the first level. Okay, and I usually pride myself on I play a lot of Bethesda, and I think it's part of the problem. So okay, so let's mention my age here for just a minute. No, Star Fury, I can beat you in this because I am 62 years old. I am officially an ancient of days now. I am officially older than dirt, and so I can say that honestly. So switching controllers, switching stuff like that, I used to really pride myself on being able to just go in there and burn through it. But so I've been playing a bunch of Bethesda, and when I switched over to Dark Souls, I'm like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to beat it. 3 days later, I'm still on level 1. I cannot beat that sucker. I cannot beat. My nephew is trying to tell me, okay, just go and just poke him in the booty. Just poke him in the booty. Just keep going. For whatever reason, yeah, just keep going.
Dan,
But I not get this thing done. So I put it aside. Then my PS3 died, so I have not been able to even start Dark Souls, and I want to so bad. It's like, unfortunately, I'm writing a book series, so I have to finish that. But I swear to you, when I get finished, there are games I can play, and I'm probably going to stream them. Just because nobody gets to watch old people stream, while they game. It's like really old people.
Play Red Dead 2 if you're going to stream a game. You got the accent, you got the attitude, play Red Dead.
So what I will say about Dark Souls 1 is that it's very much the kind of game that rewards you for being cautious and also just being patient with it. Like the more you're willing to stick with it, the more rewarding it gets as you're kind of like getting farther into the game. That's the thing. Like the beginning is the biggest learning curve, honestly. Once you kind of get into the rhythm of the game, it gets a lot easier because you as a player are you're kind of leveling up along with your character, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually say that would make sense for me because I'm used to grinding on games. I don't mind that. But after a while, it does get kind of old. It's like, for instance, like that first, 4 levels of Skyrim where you just go to Whiterun and start jumping in the jumping in the fire until you finally level up. Is it Whiterun? Yeah, and just keep jumping in until you finally level up. And I don't mind grinding on it, but if it gets to where I'm so frustrated I can't get further, I usually have to stop and play something else for a little bit and then go back and try it again. But then when you're talking about controllers and how they react, every house of games, especially back when they were doing really great games, had their own feel. It's not just the mechanics. It's not just the game mechanics. It's how it literally feels. You're switching the combos. And
right.
When you get it stuck in your head, like I was so stuck on Bethesda's setup, the way that they played their games, it was really hard to break out of it. And I'm also the kind of person, I do not like switching my consoles. Not want to level up to a PS4 or PS5. I don't care how much they want me to. On disc, and I ain't giving them up, baby. So I'm gonna probably try to get another PS3 before I start the game. Just because.
Very nice.
No, but yes, but do they even allow them? Are we gonna get a warning because I want a PS3? Are they gonna let you out? Because
Sony just absolutely like Sony just debars you from buying a PS3 because that's not their most current console, so they just won't let you.
Star Fury says, I'm so old, I was with Moses as he died on the edge of Canaan. You know what's funny about that, Star Fury?
So,
I just got to that part. I'm now reading the book of Joshua.
So, Miss Snow, I'm going to tell you, the market for PS3s is very, very lucrative on the streets. You're going to have to talk to Crackhead Joe to get one, though. But he's nice. Just give him a little bit of crack and he'll be good to go.
I gotta go find some of that then.
If you find some Red Balls, you give him that as well. Red Balls! It's like a cocaine in a can.
That's actually good for Red. Yeah, that's by all 4 logos, how we miss you. It's like so sad.
So, Frequency, you were asking me a bit about Dark Souls, kind of like how it's lumped in as a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of design principles, especially from Metroid and Symphony of the Night. A lot of how, like, for me, I've always kind of lumped in Metroidvanias. It's not really in their core gameplay loop so much as it is their level design. That's where you really start to see a lot of the Metroidvania elements kind of peek through, where you're going to lock doors that you can't access until you get a certain item or a key or what have you. Well, Dark Souls kind of has that, especially the first game. There's a lot of looping paths around where it's like you wouldn't even think a place is accessible until you get much farther around. One of the most famous parts of the first Dark Souls game is where you come into the first area of the game. You go up from the beginning area, which is Firelink Shrine. You go through this whole kind of like towering complex with a chapel and everything. You circle around, you find some weird elevator in a church or something. Takes you all the way back down. This is like 3 or 4 hours into the game. you realize it takes you all the way back to where you just started. Just one huge loop. And the whole
And that's
game.
like the training run of the game, and from there it probably lets go of your hand and let you explore.
Yeah, there are predefined paths, but it gives you several branching paths to choose from, and just about all of them loop around on each other.
Yeah,
It's
that
really
sounds
clever.
very much like a Metroidvania. Animation Overload says, "I gotta go. Congrats again on 100 episodes, and God bless." Thank you for stopping in, Animation Overload. You have a great night, and God bless you too.
Yay.
With Otter's explanation, because when I always think of Metroidvanias, side scrollers.
It does not
Otter's
have to be a side
explanation,
scroller.
Then
Okay.
I guess the Soul Reaver franchise. That's what I played, or it's Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Very much like that.
Yeah, from what I know of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, it is a Metroidvania.
Whoa!
There you
Whoa,
go. Then.
Hold on, my man. You just mentioned Legacy of Kain. You just touched on one of my absolute fucking favorite stories of video game history.
It's
Are
pretty
you going-
poetic. It's a very poetic story.
Are you
And
gonna
very
get that
gothic if
remake?
you're into gothic stuff.
Are you gonna get that remake when it comes out?
I don't know, dude. I have to see what the writing's like, and I'm not gonna drop $70 for a freaking video game ever.
Oh man, I'm so tempted to. It's got Otter. You know anything about Legacy of Kain?
I know about it. I haven't played any of the games though. I want to try out Soul Reaver at some point. I've seen some gameplay for it. I also know little bits and pieces about the story. I know enough to know that the dialogue and the writing in general is really good.
Very good. And the voice acting, but there's a point. If you do get a Soul Reaver, there may be a point where you don't know where to go and you just find yourself looping. And it's usually around this lake with platforms on it. If you find yourself looping, just ask me. I'll tell you where to go, because that's a real shitty area to get stuck at, because the game doesn't necessarily tell you where to go. You just gotta know beforehand.
Oh.
Yeah. It's actually jumping up a ledge that's literally off screen. You can't see it.
Oh, no.
You know, yeah. You need to know where it's at.
You know, some folks are so much a purist about the exploration that they don't like having options that give you a checkpoint to try and reach. Even though it's off your map, you don't know how to get there yet. There's some folks who are like, I don't want to know that. I just want to explore. And I get that, but not having that option in some cases does leave things a little too vague for the average person who wants to play a bit and can't spend hours just on exploration.
Well, that
Is
was kind of the thing
Dino
with-
Crisis a Metroidvania?
I don't know because I never played it.
From what I've seen, a lot of its actual gameplay borrows heavily just from the original Resident Evil games.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know if
very
you
Resident
could
Evil.
probably call those Metroidvania.
Because
Here's
there's a
the
lot
thing,
of
I haven't-
backtracking, back and forth, unlocking secrets. You need a key for this. You got to kill that over there. Then you come back and unlock this.
That sounds like Metroidvania. That's
that's
how Metroidvanias are structured.
Maybe Metroidvania is a lot a broader net than I thought. So yeah, you can throw in Dino Crisis, which I love. I love Dino Crisis. The first two games, nobody needs Dino Crisis 3.
The whole problem with Metroid Prime 1, though, if we're talking about waypoints, though, that game kind of needed waypoints to a certain extent.
It did. Have a good one, Fu Man Blue. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, that was the one that rocked it all off, though, the original Metroid. And it's rough. It really is. I mean, it was groundbreaking because of the game design, but it needed some serious polish. And, you know, it was also a product of its time. And when they redid it with Zero Mission, which is just the remake of the original Metroid, that really fixed a lot of things. Kind of complaining that you get it shows a statue and it tells you what area to go look around. It gave you the point that would be on the map for you, but the map wasn't filled in around it yet, so you didn't know how to get there. And some people complained about that, but I thought that was a great compromise.
Even Metroid Prime 1, like the game does a really good job early on of kind of giving you an idea of where to go, but it's later on in that game where it becomes really vague. The whole Chozo key hunt or whatever.
Yeah, that's the bane of the Prime series is the fetch quest at the end.
1 and 2 are really bad for it.
Yeah, in 3 it was still there, but they did it a little bit better. It was the battery canisters, and you found them and used them throughout the whole quest, rather than, hey, at the end you got to go collect all these to enter the final boss.
Right.
Which I was not a fan of that.
By the time you realize that it's a fetch quest near the end, you've already got half the key items you need.
Yeah, and you've already unlocked the areas. It was much better integrated.
Yeah, I agree there. I do. Strangely enough, story-wise, I probably prefer Prime 2. Gameplay-wise, Prime 1 is my favorite. I don't know if it's better than Super Metroid, though. I really enjoy Super Metroid.
Yeah, I do too, although the controls are kind of floaty for my liking, especially after playing Dread. It's so snappy, so tight, and it handles so well. It's like, it spoiled me. I go back and play other Metroidvanias now. I'm like, I want the Metroid Dread controls, you know?
It's
Hollow Knight has excellent, nice and tight controls too. That's one of those games when it's tough, but when you get hit, you don't feel gypped. You feel like, okay, yeah, that was my fault.
It's interesting to see how much the Metroid games themselves kind of lean into that style of level design. Some go farther away. What is it? Metroid Fusion. It's almost not a Metroidvania just because of how much it...
Because there's no sequence breaking.
Right, there's no sequence breaking. It's pretty much follow this objective. You do have to figure out how to get there, but you pretty much always have an objective during the game.
Now, did you notice though that there was a little bit of bickering back and forth between Samus and the Atom computer? And it was almost like regaining her agency after having lost so much power from being infected by the X-Parasite.
Yeah, I really like her banter in Fusion.
Yeah. There was one point where you could sequence break in there. Kind of. It's very difficult to do. I never even managed to pull it off, and I know what you're supposed to do it. I couldn't quite get it. But when who'd we lose? Snow?
I think we lost Snow.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, not the Snow.
Curse you, StreamYards, tube you, internet, blah.
Come back.
Now, when you successfully make that sequence break, you go into a room where you're supposed to receive a power-up, and Adam tells you, hey, you're off the intended path. You have to go back there, and then like the little agent guy pops up, that shadowy figure, and the text box says, I wonder how many players see this room. So they know you were looking to sequence break.
Eveline Music here says the proper Metroidvania is ability gated access, not key gated access. Interesting, because 2 games I brought up that I like that are maybe Metroidvanias is Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, which is actually ability gated, where you got to solve puzzles and platformers to get to a boss. You kill the boss gives you an ability that lets you unlock paths. He gives you the ability. One boss gives you the ability to like climb walls. Now you can climb up these particular paths that are more vertical, and then other bosses give you the ability to phase through gates, so that unlocks more paths. And then you have Resident Evil. Resident Evil is all about puzzle solving and key gathering to either solve more puzzles or unlock more paths. And sometimes those puzzles that you solve just give you weapons that make it easier to kill bosses. So I guess going by Evil Eye's thesis here, Resident Evil would not be a Metroidvania or a true Metroidvania, and Legacy of Kain would be the tried and true Metroidvania.
Yeah. Now, where that can get a little gray is collecting keys, but one key can open a gate, but you could open gate 1, 2, or 3 with that key. That's where it gets a little. But I mean, I also see his point. Like, you're not getting new abilities and keeping those abilities, allowing you to access new areas. And half the fun of a lot of the Metroidvanias is finding a way into those areas that you're technically not supposed to be yet, and trying to survive in those areas without the upgrade you're intended to have at that point. And sometimes you can get through and get an upgrade you're not supposed to have till much later in the game. And that's where the real fun begins.
Another
so
gray
that would
area.
lean-
Another
would
gray
lean
area
kinda
has to
towards
do with
the-
some of the Souls games where it's not necessarily based off your character's abilities, but what you know as a player. Because there are shortcuts in those games where it's like, technically they're there for you to access, but they are so easy to miss until you look at it from a certain angle and then you go, wait, there's a path there. That just, I can skip this whole sequence right here.
There you go. I think that would lend it more towards Resident Evil then, because I think that one was more soft blocking than hard blocking. Well, Legacy of Kain was way more hard blocking. You needed to kill this boss first before you could go down that path.
Star Fury says, I have to actually get some sleep, so have a great night, and I hope you're up for 100 more. Thank you, Star Fury. Yeah, he's over in England. I think England. He's a Brit, and it's late
You're
where
right.
he is.
It was sweet to come in.
Everly says, I think Arkham City and Arkham Knight could count, though.
I'm honestly wondering. I don't know how Arkham City would fit in. It's kind of tough for me to say because I haven't played the Arkham games, which is probably a crime against humanity. But I hope to play them at some point. Arkham Asylum, from what I know, I can definitely see it.
You just need to play the city, and you're good to go. You don't really need to play the other ones. But
I do want to play Arkham
I'm about to go
Asylum.
to sleep myself. I work tomorrow, but you should. It's an amazing game. I do want to show up for the 100 episode and see you guys again, and especially you, Miss Snow. I'm sorry for going radio silent. Everything just happened all at once.
No,
So
I
keep it
love
on.
you.
Oh,
I'm
thank
just glad
you.
we're here. I'm just glad I've seen you because I know it's hard. No, everybody has so many things going on, and when you guys show up, it's just like seeing a little light in the distance. Like, oh my gosh, it's my little friend. I love you so much.
Yeah, you too, ma'am. And Otter, Rita, Wrangler, all of you guys. Listen, I'm sorry for going radio silent. I really am. It's just like I said. Lots of things happen.
It's okay.
But
No worries,
I want to be
man.
here.
I've had to take a step or two back myself. Everybody needs a bit of a break here and there.
Yes. But before I leave, I want to ask you guys something.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm the Barbarian. Maybe you heard about them. Maybe you all heard about these movies, right? Raise your hands who many of you have seen these movies at least once.
You might want to
Talking about
repeat it,
Conan?
Stormcrow. Your
Yeah, you speak
audio
back out.
really cut out.
Okay, I want to ask you guys something. How many of you have seen the movie Conan the Barbarian and The Lord of the Rings?
Me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Here's the question. Conan the Barbarian. No. Let me rephrase. Robert E. Howard versus J.R.R. Tolkien. Who's better?
Personally, I prefer Robert E. Howard, though that's not to diss J.R.R. Tolkien at all.
Miss Snow. Who's better? J.R.R. Tolkien.
Which one do I prefer to read? Let's see. If I am, geez, that is hard because I've read both of them extensively. I love both of them almost equally, but they are so different.
All right, then let me make it easier. I have a machete to your throne. Who are you going to pick?
You had a what? A machete?
Yeah, I'm Latino. I'm not gonna have a gun.
Honestly, Honestly, I think it just comes down to personal preference.
It's hard for me because I like both of them almost equally, and they're both almost equally influential in my own work. It's really hard. It's like, I would say this. I believe that Howard, had he lived, would have actually grown. His prose is more not structured. Tolkien is at a slower pace. Even when his scope is like watching a movie from afar. When you see those giant shots of Bride of the Rohirrim, that is Tolkien's best work. That's him. The vast sweep gaze. Robert E. Howard, it is the strike of the sword in your hand. You can feel it. The way that he expresses such an emphasis. And because they are both so different from each other, I love them both so equally. It's really hard for me. I'm sorry. I take them both. I would throw myself in front of the machete. Take me instead. Spare my babies, Tolkien and Robert, because I love them so much.
Storm Pro, you got an open mic again.
Well, because I love you and I don't.
I love you more.
Because I love you and I don't want to
My
hurt you with a
computer
machete,
crapped
I'll
out.
make the question a lot easier now.
What?
I'll make the question easier for all of us here. Robert E. Howard versus George R. R. Martin. Who's better?
Robert E. Howard, no question.
Nothing against George R. R. Martin. I love Robert E. Howard.
I also think Robert
Well,
E.
I have
Howard
something against him.
is,
He's fat.
Robert E. Howard's writing also has a bit more of a universal appeal than George R. R. Martin. Martin's writing, at the very least, if we're talking Song of Ice and Fire, is it's a little more like hardcore dark fantasy in a lot of ways. I wouldn't call it grimdark, but it definitely has a certain outlook, and it's not for everyone. Howard, I think, balances that a lot better. He still has a lot of dark elements in his stories, but he usually balances it with a bit more history, a bit more kind of like adventure and magic. So I just like Howard's style better in that sense.
Conan, when he sees things with an innocence that is hard to describe. It sounds strange to call Conan an innocent, but he is a barbarian. He is not a conniving person. He is cunning. He can be cruel, but he is not duplicitous. He does not lie about what he is or what he does. When he sees the light in something, he describes it's how he interacts with the world that makes it a lighter, brighter story, even though he has this darkness all around him, that bloodthirsty element that is undeniable. He sees the lightness in it. And Robert E. Howard frequently talks about Conan responding to the light that he observes, the things that he sees that are worthy and true, that make him want to be a greater Conan. He never changes his tone. He never changes who he is, but he always strives to be better. And I think that brings a brightness to it that George R. R. Martin's characters necessarily may not have, because they don't frequently miss that brightness in the world. It becomes all darkness and intrigue and drama. And of course, that's part of what his writing is. There's nothing to blame with that. But I find more hope in Howard's work.
I think a lot of it comes down to what their overall themes are. I've heard that other stories in Westeros are a lot lighter in tone, but A Song of Ice and Fire, it seems like one of the main themes of the story is just the reinforcement that the bad guys can and often do win. So that's why the story is oftentimes so dour. Whereas Conan, it's more like, it feels like a lot of Robert E. Howard's characters they're almost like an expression of a different ideal or emotion. Mm-hmm. And for Conan, it is freedom. So it's kind of like a celebration of that fact. Even though he's a barbarian, it's kind of like the celebration of Howard's like abhorrement of society. Like, he famously hated civilization. So yeah. Conan is kind of an expression of that. Like, even though he is technically a savage, he's still very kind, honorable. He's respectful to ladies. Like, he'll treat you like an equal. If you cross him, he'll definitely like cut you down. But just so long as there's an honorable discourse, he'll respect that.
No, I think that's a perfect description of it. That with George R. R. he is exploring a darker world. I said I don't like to get into this thing where I didn't like their characters because I don't like what they're representing, or that's the story. The story that Martin tells is a dark tale of court intrigue and all the depravity and the debauchery that goes on behind it. and there are hopeful characters in there, but that they are up against a terrible thing, and sometimes the terrible thing wins. And with Conan, I always know that Conan is somehow going to win. He, of course, part of his plot armor. Conan, he's not going to die. You can't tell the next story. But with Conan, he continuously finds a way forward. He somehow manages. So there's that an innate hope there, because I know that Conan's not just I'm not going to see a beloved character just become totally destroyed in Conan.
This is my entertainment. If they're gonna make a Conan movie, they're probably gonna make him black, lesbian, queer folk or something. I don't know.
Identity politics and Conan just don't go together.
My name is Conan, the non-binary they/them barbarian.
Them Marion? I can't even make it mash together right.
And he doesn't have muscle.
Non-barbarian.
All right.
Non-binary.
2 more things.
What a word.
2 more things before I leave. Wrangler, you got the photo ready?
Yeah, that's cool looking. What's that from?
Before you show it, just one more question. All right. So
Looks very skunks-like.
Yep. But hold on, man. Hold on. One more question. All right, this is easier for us. George R. R. Martin versus Tolkien. What do you guys think?
It'll be Tolkien.
Yeah, Tolkien.
I can't really answer. I would say Tolkien because I've never read any of George R. R. Martin.
I do. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy George R. R. Martin's writing, but it was never my favorite. I'm not gonna knock his writing style though, because like, say what you will about the themes and some of the characters, at least on a technical level, his writing is solid. Like, it's certainly better than me reading Fourth Wing, for God's sake.
Oh.
Well, you know what, Otter? I'm going to say this, and this is absolutely me slapping George across the face. I have no respect for the man anymore. I can say with confidence that the Fourth Wing saga is going to be more complete than A Silence in Fire.
It may be a more complete story, but I'm okay with that. Good for why am I blanking on the author's name for Fourth Wing? I feel really bad now.
Rebecca Yarros.
Yeah, I mean no disrespect to the lady. I do hope she completes her series. If she completes her series, then she is one step farther than George R. R. Martin in that respect.
Correct.
Yeah. And Evelyn Music said, all right, y'all got to bail. Congrats on number 100. Nice. He's probably already gone. I've had this up on the screen for a while, so he's probably already had to step away. But thank you, Evelyn.
Bye, Evelyn. Miss Snow, your opinion on the question, George versus Tolkien?
All right. Well, here's I've read parts of George's work, and I would say that as far as the descriptives, I think that he probably rivals Tolkien in certain places, especially in his ability to weave a story from multiple elements. I think that he does very well with that. In fact, it's something that when I was writing Watch of the Dam, because of all the factions, I was looking at how, for better or for worse, how Martin did it. Tolkien, with his multi-faction work, if I'm putting them side by side and saying how Tolkien still wins on prose. I believe there's nobody who writes a large sweeping scene better than Tolkien, because there is an element of grace that is hard to describe. It is a light that comes from within the man himself, and it pours out onto the page. And that is only supported by his actual experience in battle. This was a man who experienced battle from the trenches of World War I as an ambulance driver. He knows what it means. And so when he talks about these scenes, he is speaking it from the heart. But he also has that inner light which illuminates the entire battlefield, whether it casts a shadow in the darkness or it speaks the volumes of the men who are fighting and dying on the field. But they have this vision of what life could be like. There is an elevation of that moment that I feel like transcends almost every other work I've ever read in Tolkien's work. And that epic scale probably gives it solidly to Tolkien in that case.
Good answer, ma'am, as always. All right. I gotta head out, but I have to be here. Now, Wrangler, if you can do the honors.
Absolutely.
showing the image.
Whoops. If I could hit the right button, sure.
Is Rondo part of the weekly Wing It?
I don't think he's in that chat. And also, RH Snow, you haven't been getting the access to the links either, from what I understand.
Yes, I need access. Give it to me, baby.
You should have access. I see you in the chat. Let me check.
You're double check.
Otter, look at the screen. Look at that.
I see a wolf boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Oberon, the Wolf Barbarian, and Otter here knows.
I love
So
Otter here knows.
straight on the artist, huh?
Huh?
So I did guess correctly on that artist?
Yep. This has been provided by the lovely and wonderful Skunk Workshop.
Gunks
And-
is the best. He's so good.
Yes, he is. And Otter, look at that. That is what you
Yeah,
were
it looks
traveling with
great.
when we did our DC 20.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I recognize this character.
He's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to navigate away from this screen in order to send that links to Rondo.
Yes, get our Rondo on here.
He should be part of.
Yeah,
the chat.
get him on here. He deserves some life, some love. And I gotta leave you guys be.
No.
But
Oh no.
well, you guys know where to find me. Twitter, Discord. I'm always prowling, always keeping watch over you guys. And
You.
Wrangler, happy 100,
Yes, sir.
man.
Thank you very much.
I love
It was happy 100 to all of us. I'm not the one who did this. All of us together have been doing it. So you've all been part of making this happen.
Aw.
I'm 100 episodes old. Oh my god.
You're practically an ancient.
Oh my god.
I'm
It's
looking
wonderful.
for.
The Eldritch Atrocity was the friends we made along the way.
That's special.
I
Good
will
night,
say.
you guys.
Oh, good
Yes?
night, Stormcrow.
Have a great night, Crow. Thanks for coming in.
I love you.
What were you going to say, Otter? Sorry for interrupting you.
This is my final comment on George R.R. Martin, and it's going to be a little rash. So I'll say this. I'll use this metaphor. The brightest light casts the darkest shadow. Tolkien is that light. Martin is that shadow. Martin's
Oh.
writing would not be so prominent with fantasy audiences if it weren't for Tolkien.
Boom.
That's boom. That's amazing.
Well, pretty much most fantasy writers today are standing on the shoulder of the giant that is Tolkien.
Right,
Yeah.
but Martin especially because A Song of Ice and Fire in many ways is a bit of a deconstruction piece of Tolkienian tropes. So it required Tolkien to pretty much set the groundwork.
Andrew Campbell, what's happening?
Andrew. Hi.
All right. Now I'm gonna go. All of you have a good night. Happy 100.
Love you.
Please stay safe.
I love you. It's gonna be
Have a great night, Crow, and God bless.
God bless
You-
Stormcrow.
sweetheart.
God bless you, Stormcrow.
God
Hey,
bless
Rondo.
you all.
God bless us, everyone.
And Andrew Campbell asked what's happening with us tonight. Well, for the most part, we're talking about Metroidvanias, although my computer crashed and I disappeared, and they started talking about George R.R. Martin.
Oh, I can
Ian's
start
wonder
back
why I was waiting to come on when I was transferred all them files.
Yeah.
I can start us back on there. There's a
What?
whole bunch of indie stuff that I could suggest.
Ooh, do it.
Well, here's both book and Metroidvania. We have Bloodbane, Quest of Lance by T.J. Marquis.
Yay!
Is it like a choose your own adventure or?
No, it's I think he called it the Castlevania game that never existed that he wanted to play. It's like it was his own idea for a game that he would want to play that was heavily inspired by Castlevania. and he wrote the story. Sound familiar?
Yes.
So kind of similar to, hey, I wanted to make a game but couldn't figure out how to make the game, so I wrote it down.
Good job.
Technically, you read through this, you will see definitely elements of a Metroidvania.
Will you really?
Oh yes.
Wrangler, my TBR pile is so massive. Your list is
Same.
I know your books are so high on my list, guys. Every time I hear y'all talk, I'm like, I need to read their stuff. I gotta get finished with mine so I can start reading what I want.
Campbell says, I still haven't read his stuff. I'm more into Malazan.
I've been reading a lot of Lord Dunsany over the last week or so. A lot of his short fiction. It's really good. There's one where I'm almost convinced that it served as a big inspiration for the original Diablo, though I can't confirm that.
What?
The highlights of the story, though, I'm like, this feels like Diablo.
I like Diablo.
I do too. It's a really cool series.
Oh, I have been doing nothing but playing Diablo 4. Oh my god.
I really enjoy Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. I haven't played any of the others, honestly. I know it's the other way around for a lot of people. I haven't completed Diablo 2, strangely enough. Granted, I'm still very new to that game. Diablo 1 is just a short enough game to where it doesn't take too long for you to complete it.
How long is it?
It's one of those RPG campaign games where the whole game is essentially one big mega dungeon. So it's like each floor is randomly generated, but it goes 16 levels down before you complete the game, and Diablo's at the bottom.
Hey, by the way, before we continue, wasn't Blackwood supposed to be joining us tonight?
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, Rabbit's
Because I know he said he wanted to hop on, but I guess you added him to the page, but maybe he didn't realize that the link is there.
Yeah, I can go ahead and ask him.
Yeah, I know Otter was talking about the literature he was reading recently. I got back onto old school big game hunter books where hunters write about the stories of them going out and killing man-eaters. I read two fantastic books. One of them that really stuck out to me was I believe it was called The Terror of Haru, or something of that sort. Like, very Indian name. Obviously, I'm not from India, so I don't have terrible pronunciation. But it's all about this hunter who's going around trying to take out this elephant, and it's on a rampage. And you don't think much of an elephant as a killer, or you kind of do, but you don't think how an elephant would take someone out. And they go into, like, not massive detail, because it's read almost like a written journal for someone to read, almost like they're giving you a letter first, like, this is how my hunt went. And he talks about the sequence where these two officers were after the elephant, and it spooked them, and they fell off of their I believe they had their own elephant. They fell off of it, and their guide managed to get up a tree, and all he heard was the rampaging elephant stomping beneath him for roughly 2 hours. And then finally the elephant left, and when he got to the ground, he realized the entire time it was stomping on the bodies of these two gentlemen, and they were basically just cool mangled jelly and cartilage and bone.
Gosh.
It's pretty actual horrific, and this isn't like a fantasy. This is actually a record of something that happened. And the way the elephant was taken out was actually very cinematic. Like, I had to stop and read it twice. But they never really go into. It's what's so interesting about these lifelike journals about what's actually happening is, even though it can be cinematic, the death of the creature, the death of the man-eater, it's usually like just another punctuation in the page. It's like, and then I shot it, and then it was dead, and then we did X, Y, and Z. But this one was very particular because our hunter is off trying to hunt this thing for a number of months, and then finally another legendary hunter comes into play, and that guy's on it for like a week. They're just chilling there, they're sitting there, and they're talking about how they're going to take out the elephant, but they got their guns on them. They always got their guns on them.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, the elephant rages out of the bushes towards them. And then that legendary hunter looks at it and he knows it's too close for him to get a kill shot. If he shoots it in the chest, in the face, this elephant is known for taking a hit, just rampaging right through you. The only way he's going to take it out is getting around in the cranium, but it's too darn close, too darn big. He can't see its cranium. So he's just sitting there. He takes his hat off and he throws it on the floor some feet in front of him. And the elephant, knowing its nature, stops and looks down to inspect what he dropped, exposing its cranium. And he nonchalantly aims his rifle, takes a single shot, and then the elephant just goes slump and dies right then and there.
Dude.
I thought that was
Oh.
magnificent. And that's a
Can you hear
real
me?
piece of history right there. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome, Blackwood.
Hey, all good.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello, hello.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna write a monster story in the future about hunting down monsters and taking extreme inspiration, because this is my unknown favorite genre of books is big game hunters taking out man eaters.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, I
what-
we're talking about it on Terran Tuesdays, and no, that kind of stuff. When you actually read those things, and you back into the stories you're writing, you're taking real world experience that most of us will never have. Most of us will never know what it's like to take down a creature that is towering over the top of us. But when you read other people's experiences, you can incorporate that into your own writing in such a way that you actually can make it so much more realistic and so much more enjoyable for our readers. So yeah, I think exploring those genres, especially the old school stuff where they didn't mind saying that they were doing these, I think that would be kind of cool. Actually, I need to start reading some more of that stuff.
I know one
Very
thing
interesting.
that has been really fascinating me lately. I came across this YouTube channel. It kind of posed a really fun idea. I sort of like to add this to a certain degree in my own writing myself. It's the idea of so fantasy and sci-fi loves its cycles, right? Like things, history has a habit of repeating itself. But what I think was very interesting that he brought up was the idea, he called it, what was it, moldy world building, where it's the idea that a world hasn't wasted away, but it's like its own nature and ecosystem is kind of like taking those remains and creating something new out of it. So it gives this sense that the world is not only is there a history to it, but there is a sense of it being alive and it's slowly changing and remolding itself over time. I don't know. It was an idea that I always thought was really neat. You see it in a lot of you've seen it in a lot of post-apocalyptic games, actually. Like what is it? Breath of the Wild is a really good example where it's like not only is kind of like an apocalypse happen, but you've seen like nature retake what was there with civilization. It's a really fun kind of like speculative concept that always appealed to me.
I mean, couldn't you argue that like Fallout, especially like something in New Vegas where like new societies form and new things re kind of form, of course based off the society that became before it, but like these are new societies, new factions, new governments and people.
Yeah, exactly. The idea that so a lot of writing likes to focus on decay, but I think it's a lot more interesting to see what happens after that, where there's kind of like this idea of rebirth in a sense. Maybe it might not be completely new, but it gives the idea that the world isn't static. It's always moving. There's this sense of, I don't know if you'd call it evolution or just nature taking its course, where it's like humanity isn't necessarily at the center of the world. There's a sense of other factors coming into place too. So it gives a great sense of scale, a sense of history. And I love that. I always did. I always thought it was a fun thing to put into perspective.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like what I always liked, the idea of civilization is always building on the ashes of older ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world's in decay. That we owe a lot to Jack Vance for that as well, with his Dying Earth series. And that's to me, when you see those decaying worlds, the backside of an empire, instead of that rising portion of it, but instead that slow spin towards death. There's something compelling about it because there's no longer anything to lose. There's got to be a way out, something to explore, something that's new. It's kind of like going on to some of the old Minecraft servers, and you see where everybody's been. It's like wow, they hadn't been here in like 5 years, and nobody's here. You're just wandering through this empty space with the remains of other people and other things. And I think that those ideas, kind of like when you're playing Fallout 3, which is not a Metroidvania in any respect, but when you're playing Fallout 3 and that emptiness of the world and the decay around you, even though there's a civilization there, the overwhelming presence of what is past hangs over it like a constant ghost. And they're capturing that in our own worlds, and especially Watcher of the Damned, to me was so important because that feeling of loneliness and spiraling doom helps set, kind of like what Otter said about the light casting a shadow. The light appears brighter when it's against the darkness. And I wanted to capture that in my own writing. And I think that as we go back and explore some of those other writers that went into those types of genres, where you're exploring ancient and decaying worlds, or that, like you said, a molding world building, I think that would be so fascinating to give it a name. I don't know what you call that. It's like dying Earths. I guess, what do you call it? Molding world building?
They called it moldy world building, where it's like I would imagine the best comparison is not post-apocalyptic, but post-apocalyptic. What happens after the aftermath of an apocalypse?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the Metro novels and video games.
Yeah,
I haven't read
that's
the
a
novels,
really good comparison.
but I played the video games, and I definitely need to read the novels now. There's an excellent scene in there where ghosts are real, and this is after a nuclear apocalypse. And there's a scene where your character is just supposed to walk through this downed aircraft, and you're going through it, and then the ghosts kind of give you a flashback, and you're seeing the last thing they saw while they're in midair, and a huge explosion happens. They get hit by that huge blast that just takes them out, and then you're flashed back there, like many years later. The plane is just this another structure in the environment, just inside that vessel, and it's my favorite scene in the entire franchise. I could just replay it over and over again because there's so much life there, and it shows you both the past and then returns you to that post, and even like say post-apocalyptic future where everybody is now living in the metro system because you can't breathe the air above, and they got an entire currency system. You can, like, bullets are as good as currency in this real great aftermath world building.
I'm right there with you, honestly. There's just to add a little more. Sorry, RH Snow. I know I'm cutting you off just a little. What I love about that chapter or that part of the game, I know the exact part you're talking about. There's a deeper implication that is he a priest that you're following? I honestly forget. So it's like he's kind of musing about philosophy, about the state of the world after the apocalypse. And he's like, to paraphrase, he says something along the lines of, ghosts, you thought they weren't possible, but who knows? The apocalypse happened. Perhaps the universe itself changes and evolves. We're not at the center of it all. And that's just a really, for me, it was always something that stuck with me, where it gives the idea that some things can fundamentally change the state of life like that. Even if it's something as major as a nuclear bomb or something more trivial, it gives the feeling that there's a sense of change there going on. Like there's new mysteries being opened up.
And of course, it's based off a Russian novel. They're really good at that sort of storytelling.
Yeah. By the way, I put the link to Bloodbane: Quest of Lance by T.J. Marquise I put the link in the chat.
Thank you.
actually reminds me of this story I'm working on in the back end that I may or may not release, but it's something that got me stuck in my head for a while. I shared it with a few of you, and I thought of making it a 100% just to be that guy AI project to see if it's possible. And the entire shtick is kind of like that. The world has ended. It's decades later, and then basically the entire Earth is populated by various forms of mutants that were once human generations later after this big catastrophe that messed up Earth's genetics in a single cycle. Nobody really knows what happens. All they know is that people with certain blood types instantly transformed into these weird mutant things and started attacking everybody that wasn't. Go ahead, Wrangler.
I showed that video to Sonnet, by the way, James.
Yeah.
And she wants to see more of it.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Do you want to play it here? Screw it, man. If you got the link, play it here.
I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
yeah, thank you. I was gonna say, actually, there was another type of post-apocalyptic setting I liked. It was the Shin Megami Imagine MMO. It was basically they were experimenting with some device, and it kind of opened a rift, and all these old gods and other things like that. You know,
I think
there
I
were
know the game
manifestations of
you're
our-
talking about.
Yes, and they were called demons. And it
Yes,
was like
I know the one you're talking. I don't remember
Yes.
the title of it, but I know the one you're talking
But
about.
yeah, it's the Shin Megami Tensei Imagine. That's what it was called. It shut down, unfortunately, but it had that post-apocalyptic setting where these demons wandered everywhere because the device opened the rift and everything, and they could be summoned by these crystallic essences, and sometimes they could possess people and they mutate and corrupt or other horrible, strange things. It was very fascinating.
Definitely, and I did steal it from something. I stole it from a now defunct game called Nether, which was basically just another survival game. But
Yeah.
I played a shit ton of it, and I like the concept. And it's like, well, it's dead. I'm going to take this idea and do something with it.
Yeah, I had a similar taste. It was great.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of authors have said that ideas are cheap. It's how you execute them that really matters.
Well said. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, I like to, if I do that with something, let's say that for instance, I have a lot of influence from the Fallout series in my series, Watcher of the Damned, and so what I did is I actually put the homages into it, calling the games out by name, or actually putting a sequence in there where anybody who ever played the game would know it. For instance, one of my characters was gambling, and they ended up with a whole bunch of bottle caps and some like some drugs or something. But they ended up with some bottle, and immediately it was, anybody who's ever played Fallout knows that, he's got these bottle caps and like a stone gnome over in the corner. And so I love to put that in there because I want to make sure that I give that nod to the source of my love, especially when it's as famous as it is with Fallout, but also some of these other games. For instance, Kingdom of Loathing, which I don't know if any of y'all have ever played.
I've played it.
I think I have.
Dude, for real, I love Kingdom of Loathing. I need to go back and play it more. Actually, I've given money to these people because I like their game so much, because it harkens back to Zork and other. I actually do have, by the way, in my upcoming book, I have two characters. Their names are Zork and Amiga. If you know what I'm talking about, say something now.
I think I know, kind of. It's been a while.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's like, sure, you young people today don't know nothings. And so, so I love referencing these games, but Kingdom of Loathing, actually, I let them know. I was like, I'm putting this in the book. And so I actually took a line from one of their characters where you open up something and your shoes are filled with vodka for some reason. And so I ended up having that as a line in the book, because I love to give those homages when we are in those places where we have this wonderful game and maybe not that many people know about it, or it's been abandoned. Kingdom of Loathing is alive and well, by the way, just letting y'all know. So go get a chance. Play Kingdom of Loathing. It's awesome. And I like to put those in there because it's wonderful to let people know where this originated. That somewhere back there, somebody had this great, story. One of my favorites that I really can't find, and I know people play this game, is Descent. Have any of you guys ever played Descent? It was a robot flying into a mining camp on asteroids and different planets, and it would always like blow up a bunch of other robots, of course, and go free the miners who were being held hostage by these rogue robots. It kind of, in some ways, a nod to Doom, and I think yeah. So Doom, of course, being another mining, one where you go up and they just manage to open up a whole can of what on people. But so yeah, whenever we do those things, it's nice to be able to put in something that those fans would know. Oh my gosh, that's from the game. And I like to also usually give a credit in the back of my book that hey, I loved this game, or thanks to these other people for coming up with these things, because a lot of people otherwise might actually never know about these games. And when you share those credits, or when you mention those games by name, it's almost like giving homage to a person who's passed on. This was somebody's life. They created this wonderful story that you could play out on a console that may no longer exist, but the memories are just fantastic. When we were talking about Guardian Legend or the other Metroidvania games that we played, these are stories, but people can't access them anymore if they don't have the consoles or they don't have the disc. It's up to us to share those wonderful ideas and those wonderful memories of this art form, which is no longer accessible.
Oh, yeah. I also like the Easter eggs to put into things like that. Subtle Easter eggs. I love that too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's why a lot of us are fighting for game preservation, because we want to keep those things alive for our younger generations to enjoy. But because of a lot of laws and other corporations that fight against it, it makes it nearly impossible to do it, except for pirating, unfortunately.
Which is why I'm a big advocate of whenever you find a game you like, if it is available as a physical copy, get it.
Yeah.
I have games that I bought digitally, and I liked it enough where I went out and bought the physical copy just to have it on my shelf.
Buy physical media.
Same way, I like physical media. It's going to become a very thing that's going to be demanded soon if people keep this up with the digital.
Unfortunately, it's not always available. I just started playing Yars Rising, and it's a blast. I went to Nintendo's website to order the physical copy. They didn't have it available there. Looks like it is available through Best Buy. So next paycheck, I plan on picking up a copy of that just to put it up on the shelf behind me.
Yeah,
I like that.
Anyways, I can see you brought up my trailer here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's watch it and get it out of the way.
Yeah. I showed this to someone, and I said to her, this is a trailer James put together for the idea. I was telling her a little bit about the idea. I said, it almost looks like a video game trailer. And she goes, that's one I would want to play. So let's check it out.
Don't forget to unmute it.
Oh, good call.
According to the surviving records, the downfall of humanity began with an event we could neither anticipate nor understand fully. Events unfolded swiftly, and chaos followed. Those with the most common blood type, accounting for nearly 40% of the world's population, began to fall ill with rapid and alarming symptoms. Their bodies twisted and contorted, reacting to their environment in ways we could scarcely imagine. They mutated into a horrifying array of creatures, each more monstrous than the last. Some became grotesque combinations of man and beast, others transformed into eldritch horrors, beings so incomprehensible in their appearance and abilities that their mere existence defied our understanding of biology.
Many were lost, but through relentless trial, sacrifice, and ingenuity, the mutants were driven out, save for the aquatic terrors lurking in the seas. Our sights are set beyond the reclaimed grounds, to territories still shrouded in mystery. The newly established Geoscribe Division will lead the charge. As part of the new American order, the Geoscribes are tasked with exploring, charting, and securing these lost lands. Their role is to document findings, recover forgotten technologies, and pave the way for future expeditions. As we prepare to step further into the unknown, the Geoscribe Division will serve as the spearhead of our future, pushing the boundaries of our world and ensuring the survival and advancement of our people.
Nice. I like
Ooh.
that.
So that's about
that could
that's
really
about
work in a video game.
that's
I'd
about
play something like that.
80% AI. It's about
I
80%
want it.
AI for except for some small stuff. But I would suggest probably watching it on your own time a little bit if possible, because unfortunately StreamYards really likes nullifying music in the background.
I
So it
noticed
doesn't
that.
have as much
Yeah.
of the push that I wanted to. But all of that was mostly AI generated, short of maybe a few things here and there. The visuals are AI, video is AI. I put the filters on everything, so that wasn't AI, the filters, and the music was AI.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Oh man, that was fantastic.
When
It's
can we
supposed
play
to be
it?
well, I'm actually thinking working on in the background on my off time when I'm not writing stuff and working on other stuff, which is why it's something I'm compiling as a
Your
side
off
project.
time. I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah. My
do too.
project behind the project, and I'm
Yeah.
working on.
Exactly. And it's like inspired by a mix of analog horror, which kind of kicked it off. The one thing I didn't like about analog horror was a lot of it is samey and all just drower. It's like, well, the world's going to end in every one of these, so what's the point?
Yeah.
And inspired by a mix of analog horror, the SCP Foundation before it went woke, and Stargate SG-1 kind of all shoved into one.
Awesome sauce.
Wait, how does the SCP Foundation go woke? I'm very curious.
Some years ago, they had a mass purge of writers. This was they
Really?
were one of the very first.
No.
This is why you haven't heard of it, is because they were one of the very first. I believe it happened in 2015. They had a mass purge of writers and stories, and they heavily pushed the agenda stuff. And even to this day, a lot of the old school writers that stayed on, every handful of months, one of them gets out as something or other. Put it that way.
Oh man. I am so sorry.
Some sort of isterphobe.
You're not an isterphobe, more like a perv and an aisle.
Ah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
Batman contingency plans on the YouTube channel Multiversal Wisdom has a few SCP creatures where he has contingency plans set up for them.
Yeah, and the whole shtick behind Geoscribe is there's all these Geoscribe teams. I literally call them Geoscribe, so I can call them SG teams or SG units. Because
cool.
And they're all sent out to scout out the whole area around their haven, which has grown, and the new project is to send people out there, find out what's out there, and remap it all. We're starting to remap America, and the ones leading the charge, the New American Order, and the Geoscribe is their new foundation of extremely expendable men and women who
Extremely expendable, yes.
exactly, and just recharge America and slowly take it back. The whole theme is kind of like, this is no longer our world, this is their world, but now we've gotten strong enough to take it from them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Or at
I just
least
got a
try.
little tired of the whole there's nothing you can do, it's over sort of horror that takes up a lot of analog horror, because I really like the visual sentiment of it. Like, I like that analog look, but like I said, a lot of them are samey, and I find that where there's very little you can do to influence something, it kind of deflates things for me. It's just very deflating.
Well, I love it. I love the concept of the, like I said, that hope in the midst of ashes. Hope rising from ashes is one of the greatest themes out there. And you're right, it really is underexplored. What happens after it's all over? How do we rebuild? And I think that's an amazing way to sort of to bring it back to the Metroidvania games that we love. Actually, so many of them feature that theme. I think maybe that's why we love it so much, because we play these games. These games are usually in dying worlds or in places where they're falling apart. And I mean, are y'all seeing that theme with it too? I mean, Dark Souls kind of goes back to that same theme as well. That things have been on the that this is a world that already is in existence that's going down. Maybe I got it wrong.
Souls Dark Souls uses that theme in just about, well, FromSoft loves to use that theme in just about every one of their games to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I that's a big reason why I love their games so much, because the way they sort of like characterize beginnings and endings, it's not so much like there is a definitive beginning or ending, or when they do, it's rare. It's more that it's some sort of change where something old turns into something new, and so begins a new age. There's going to be familiar things that happen, like in the different ages of fire. Like there are a certain kind of like common running themes. Usually there end up being certain lords that are essentially gods in their own right, just from the amount of souls they've, well, ingested, essentially. And there has to be a rekindling of the flame, but each time is not quite the same.
And you know, another one that actually does have it is what is it? We were just talking about it. Legacy of Kain games. It's basically the entire thing. The first game is you live in this thriving world where there's a war of vampires far off, far away. Or there's vampires, but humans are fighting a war, so they can't necessarily focus on the vampires. They got these other things elsewhere. And then the second game, which is Soul Reaver, it's essentially the bad ending happened in the first game. And now pretty much the kingdoms of men are driven to hide in particular areas as vampires have completely taken over. But through their taking over of Nosgoth, the land there, everything has been slowly dying. And that's because death has not been able to kind of reap life from the many kind of souls that are out there and stuck in vampiric form, and it's all due to the one vampire, Kain, who is the titular character that you play in the first game, but now you're playing Kain's offspring, Raziel, in the second game, and now Kain's the big bad guy. That guy you were playing in the first game is the big bad guy, and now the world's completely dead, and everything around you is dead. Even the vampires that your character once knew are all zombified and decayed and almost look like these strange amalgamations of zombies and Lovecraftian creatures. It's quite the fantastic story, and when they do remake the game, I'm sure going to love the visuals, but I just hope they don't ruin the writing, because it's very... If there's ever a game that has the potential to be transformed into literature, it's that one, because it has a very poetic tale to tell about redemption and time and destiny. It's a very amazing story that is, I hate to say this, stuck in game form, because it can easily become a piece of literature for those who don't have the eyes or the time and patience for video games, you know, the ones who can't even hold the controller properly, and you think, oh man, you love this story.
Isn't the writer for Soul Reaver the same person who ended up writing the story for the original Uncharted games and everything?
It may be. I haven't looked into it, but I wouldn't doubt it, because that one's also known for its...
She's a really well-known like classic writer in the gaming sphere. It was, I think, one of her last works before she either ended up getting fired or moved on was the first Last of Us game. It was the It was the second game where she actually got removed from the picture, and it was Neil Druckmann who was heading it.
Now that's a damn shame, because I know she is a legendary writer in the video game sphere. She's legend. So I don't know, like, that's just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
My ride is here.
You can definitely see
us. He says beep beep.
Hi, Bad Sauce. Hi, Bad Sauce.
I see Butt Sauce has joined us.
I love you.
Butt sauce.
Yeah, I don't want butt sauce.
I have no idea what's going on.
Understandable.
I'm on the same boat as you.
Long story.
I know bat sauce. I don't know butt sauce.
Who started the butt sauce? Was that Billy or was that Herman?
I think it was
sounds like
Herman.
Billy.
Herman. No,
I think it was Herman.
It was Herman. He's to blame.
If I didn't hear Herman doing it, I would have believed it was Billy.
Speak his name and he shall appear.
Oh my
there he is,
goodness.
the head.
Okay, that was funny.
Himself.
What's up, Hedge?
He's a man.
Also, Otter, I looked it up. You are correct. It's the same individual.
The only reason I know is I've seen people talk about the writing for Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver quite a few times. If you guys ever watch the channel Josh Strife Hayes, he did like a breakdown of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Oh yeah, he's great.
I really like his channel. He does really good breakdowns of games and kind of like the history behind them. Some of the little Easter eggs and fourth wall breaks you don't necessarily know about.
Oh, quick little correction from Herman. He says actually it was Chester Bubsy on D&QFE who sparked the flame to butt sauce.
But you popularized it.
Yeah, you fanned it.
So
Yes,
began
you
the
did.
Scheissberg.
Now I thought we had a button. I thought I can't say that out loud. We had that before, but I was just on with Chester. Herman, you and I were there. I believe that the part of it has been around before even Chester, but I may not know the full history of the sauce that is.
I don't want to know the full history.
I don't want to talk about the sauce.
Secrets in the sauce.
Oh
Oh
God.
no! Oh my gosh! No.
All right, I guess it's time for me to head out.
We are getting up on that time for parting plugs, actually. Yes, we start talking about butt sauce. We know it's coming near the end of the show.
Oh my gosh!
Herman says, "Nope, Chester started the name. I created the meme." That sounds about right.
That's beautiful.
You, Hedge, you are a meme generator.
He is.
These are a
He's
third party
actor.
venture.
He knows stuff. Can't believe you're not on here giving us your Trump imitation. What did it matter? You don't love us anymore?
He loved us?
Yes, he did.
At one time.
Allegedly.
At one time.
Yes. He did.
You know, I honestly
We should make a Metroidvania where there's just in a world of hedges.
Oh God. I honestly miss
Hedge Mania?
I miss Herman's Jordan Peterson voice. He needs to join just to do the Jordan Peterson voice.
Yeah. Everybody loves Jordan Peterson voice.
Says he just got done with his game and reviewing some audiobook changes.
Oh, really?
Nice. That sounds time consuming.
Oh, Raven popped in too. He says, "All hail the fellowship. Training call went long." Yeah, he was hoping to be able to make it in tonight, but
Oh my goodness, yes.
you know, he has actual, what are they called? Responsibilities.
He's that guy.
Oh yeah, those things. Who needs them?
Apparently we all do. Who knew?
We need money.
What?
That's
Oh.
that part where it makes money.
I guess you're right. Oh.
Yeah, and all this talk of Metroidvanias, by the way, just want to point out, I do have full spoiler coverage videos on the Metroid manga. It's in 4 parts. It's on my YouTube channel. So it just covers the entire manga. It was never released in the US. However, it was uploaded to MetroidDatabase.com. And you can download the PDFs there. Look through the manga yourself. It's in 2 volumes. And it's a 4-part series. I covered the whole thing. Use music from the series for the background. And of course, my Smart Alec cutaways. So they're in there too. And covered the whole story, bringing it right up to Zero Mission.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's a lot of story.
It is. There's a lot of lore in the whole Metroid universe. It actually became, for something that they originally intended to be a one and done little space hunter thing, it turned into quite the world.
Do they
And it
have,
was
like, a
all
Metroid,
inspired by Alien.
Do they have a Metroid, like a survival guide, how to survive the universe of Metroid?
There should be one.
Stay on one of the civilized planets, or you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, even if you're on one of the civilized planets, it's not necessarily safe. Like I remember Lore Raider popped into the chat about a month ago and asked the question, what fictional universe would you like to live in?
And I said, as much as I enjoy Metroid, I would not want to live there.
That is true. That would probably be kind of rough.
He's like, what? You don't trust the competency of the Federation? I'm like, nope.
Oh, as one closing remark where we were talking about kind of like moldy world building or post-apocalyptic worlds, I think what strikes me about it the most, it's not just the idea that the world is changing, though that's certainly a factor, but, and this is something I'll give writers like George R.R. Martin a lot of credit for, and hell, even Stephen King, both of them do this really well. It's the idea of a form of bittersweet beauty or something of the sort emerging from tragedy. Yes. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And I think if you can execute that, it's a very beautiful technique to incorporate it.
Well, I think I pulled that off when I... Oh, wait, I can't say that. That's a downright spoiler. Never mind.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I've got one cooking up in my next book, honestly. It's quite the... well, there's stuff going on, which will be interesting to see how it gets resolved.
Sweet.
Yeah. I think I ended my second book with that pretty well. That's just my opinion. I don't know. The feedback, we'll find out what people in general think, but
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think I pulled it off.
Well, the entire series Watcher of the Damned is about post-apocalypse. That's the whole point. It's far enough past that people are actually trying to rebuild from it. And so that part about that bittersweet beauty, that amazing, like I said, it's the flower rising from the ashes. There's something beautiful that can come even out of the worst apocalypse. The life after war, you know what? And also I think this does, anyone who's ever actually seen war, who understands how devastating it is, or anyone who's ever seen a natural disaster and actually dealt with it, what's left over and the beauty that can rise out of those moments. But even the things that are left behind, as wrecked and as tumble down as they are, they have a certain majesty to them that if you're only looking for what's new and shiny, you're not going to see it. But there is something hollow and empty and wonderfully lonely about those places that you just have to experience to understand.
Yeah, Herman says, I'm going to produce an audiobook snippet on YouTube Shorts soon.
Oh, are you?
Fun.
Ooh, I need that.
Andrew Campbell says, I've never seen war, but I have been to a buffet in Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh, that's as bad.
I hope no one died.
Right?
I've never seen war, but I have worked in distribution during Christmas season.
Well,
have I ever told you guys when I worked at Amazon over in December?
Really?
Yeah,
I worked for FedEx through a couple of Christmases.
It was 6/10s for 6 weeks.
Oof.
Wow.
Ouch.
Third
Yeah,
shift.
I feel your pain on that. I was one of the maniacs driving one of the trucks.
Oh.
That was you? No.
Not in Amazon. I was in FedEx, and that was before I had regathered my mind. I don't know why they hired me. I was a nut job.
What?
Behavior was a little on the embarrassing side, but somehow I managed to stick through 2 Christmases.
Good job. Wow.
I think it just broke me further at the time, but now I understand why the term going postal comes from that industry.
Oh.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Now we're getting a warning for sure.
Oh, wouldn't be the first. And it probably won't be the last.
It won't be the last. No.
Thanks, YouTube.
Riven Evermore says, it's always that most common of blood type. All right, so we are at the 2-hour mark. It's time to do some wrap-up. Parting plugs. We'll start with Blackwood. Blackwood, is there anything you want to shout out tonight?
Oh, I want to shout out to Lord Otter for introducing me to all these great people and inviting me to his game. And meeting you guys. It's all great.
Why, thank you, good sir.
Yeah, that was a fun time yesterday.
It was. I didn't. I think I was hoping I didn't like annoy you guys or anything. I get kind of nervous.
Not at all.
It annoyed me so much that I said, "Come on the show."
Actually, that's a good sign. Okay, I stand corrected.
Wait, you play TTRPGs?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
we
play
have
a
to
lot
talk.
of them. Yeah. And then, hey, well, I'm in Otter's server, so you can poke me for him.
All right, Otter.
What, me? Oh. Well, I have a Swords and Sorcery novella out. I also do TTRPGs here and there, but big thing that you can find if you want to learn more about the Otter is I have a fantasy novella out called Steel and Stormbright, The Curse of the Star Raids. I am closing work on the second book as we speak.
Hurry up.
Yeah, it slowed a little bit where I'm going through beta reader feedback, just trying to polish and fine tune everything. That's honestly the reason for the extra weight there. Even so, the feedback seems to be very good, so I'm hoping to get that done by the end of the year. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes.
Excited.
I can't wait to dig into that one. I want to see what kind of power creep your character's got.
It's not so much power creep. I keep hearing from a lot of people who have read it. They say the prologue, or what's essentially the first chapter, they say it's a very strong start. So that fills me with a lot of hope.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, you can find The Curse of the Star Raids on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all the big retailers. It's kind of a perk through going through Ingram Spark. You can also find me on YouTube, where I'll occasionally live stream. I'm also usually on the Art Tuesday streams with Billy Bob Sack and Frederick Guimont. So you can find me there.
That's another thing. Tomorrow, Tuesdays are stream days, starting with James Esparza, and he has R.H. Snow on with Black Knight.
That's right.
And then a little bit later, around 8 o'clock Eastern, we got Frederick Guimont. He has his art stream.
Yes.
Many of us are on there with him quite often. And then a little bit later, you got Iron Seas. We saw Kahuna. We saw Bat Sauce. We saw Evelyn Music. All three of them are on there. There's one other, and I'm just blanking. Who else is on there with them usually?
AC Pritchard.
Yes, thank you, AC Pritchard.
Oh
Yeah, that starts, I think, around 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah, it's around 9:30 Eastern. That's when it starts.
Dude, there's just so many
Yeah.
great shows on. But this is like having TV now. You don't need TV. We've got the talk shows now here.
That's why Legacy Media is dying so hard, because we're more fun.
It's
That's
Iron
right.
Age Indie TV.
Oh my
We're replacing Ellen DeGeneres.
Nah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of streams, and you'll, especially Tuesday, we got a lot of options for streams. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, Otter. You just reminded me of that, and I want to let
That's
everybody
awesome.
know.
Not at all. I'm just trolling and shit talking, honestly. But yeah, if you want to check out what I do, you can find my books there. You can also find me on YouTube. I am hoping to post an update for this book too around the end of the year. The current plan is to have a Kickstarter campaign. We'll honestly have to see how that goes. That is the current plan, however.
Sweet.
And also, might as well hit it.
Steel and Stormbright, The Curse of the Star Wraiths. An exciting sword and sorcery adventure about two brothers trying to make their way in a harsh world. Link in the description.
Also, athletic tits.
He said the line. We can go home now.
Hey, he said it.
That's right.
All right, R.H. Snow.
Hi. First of all, I want to say I love you and 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 especially, most of all, you. You know who I'm talking to. And
Oh, thank you. I knew you were talking about me all along.
but of course, it's Watcher of the Damned, 4 times nominated for the Prometheus Award, Best Novel of the Year. And we are on book 8 in our series, and we have a definitive arc. Of course, we are working our way through to a slam bang ending of the whole thing. And I have now put the 8th book out for its edit. Daniel P. Riley was my consultant and alpha reader for me. But life has happened so much over this last year, man. We have just really wrestled. It is coming before the end of the year. And I hope will be within the next 3 weeks that we should have it out. And it will be, of course, the 8th in the book series. which is about a post-apocalyptic world and trying to find new life out of the ashes and overthrow the system that brought it all down in the first place. So if you love that, then you should fight the system and join the revolution. Read Watcher of the Damned at watcherofthedamned.com. Or you can also find me at flow.page/RHSnow, where you'll find my books on Amazon under RH Snow for Watcher of the Damned. And thank you so much, and I love you guys. And you're the reason the book series is still going strong. And everybody out there, I love you so much. When you read my books, it just makes me cry. And you guys have been so fantastic to me. I'm telling you right now, and this is not everybody gives me a great review. It's not like that. They don't just come in and go, oh, it's Rebecca. We're just going to give her something nice because we'll cry if we don't. But you guys have been fantastic to me. You tell me what you think you love, what you think you don't, where it needs help, or honestly, the story stands on its own, and the response has been phenomenal. And I'm just grateful to God for each one of my readers. And thank you so much.
All right, Rondo.
Do you mind circling back to me?
Sure. James.
Me. I'm a short story writer. I've been getting back on the short story writing bus. This year's been a little slow, but I'm also going to start transitioning to taking a lot of my short stories and turning them into radio dramas. I'm going to be uploading on my YouTube channel, World Without End Lore, on YouTube. But you can check out all my short stories and all the stuff I post on there, because I do post a lot of stuff on there on my Substack at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com. And you can also catch me tomorrow at the World Without End YouTube channel as RH Snow, Black Knight, and I are going to continue our discussion on AI in literature and explore the personal modified AI and the evolution of AI tomorrow.
Woohoo!
All right, and another one of his would be? The undead are planning to attack, and it's up to Gwendolyn the Gnome to deliver word to the humans before they're taken by surprise. Glimmerleaf, link in the description. Readout.
So we will be having a special live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because tomorrow will be the 161st anniversary of the Gettysburg Address. But we're not talking about the actual Gettysburg Address. For you see, the main attraction on November 19th, 1863, at the dedication ceremony for the Gettysburg National Cemetery was not Abraham Lincoln, though he has that very famous speech. Most people were told the highlight was going to be a featured lecture from known speaker Edward Everett. He is said to have spoke for 2+ hours and bored the crowd. And there are transcripts of that speech. And to my knowledge, nobody's ever recorded themselves reciting his long-winded lecture about the Battle of Gettysburg. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the 161st anniversary of the other Gettysburg Address, I will be, to the best of my abilities, reciting the entire transcript of Edward Everett's magnum opus. So tune in.
Sounds like a book.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, everybody says it's 2+ hours, but I'm like, I've never seen anything recorded, so I'm going to see. Was this really 2+ hours?
I wonder if I should take that and do like the way I do my full spoiler coverage videos, do one of those with cutaways and sound effects.
So you have chosen to make history tomorrow.
I have chosen poorly.
Okay, Rondo, anything that you want to shout out?
All right. Currently, I am not working on anything, but in the spirit of talking about Metroidvanias tonight, I do want to shout out a few of my favorite, and a few that I have pretty much completed. I think that they're all indie as well. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. First one is Axiom Verge. It's a great sci-fi Metroidvania. It's got bonkers, amazing music, and it has great art direction, and fantastic mechanics. It's one of the best. Guacamelee, Super Turbo Championship Edition, and Guacamelee 2. Fantastic. Metroidvania that's kind of based around like luchadors and like Mexican like mythology.
Cool.
Beat.
Nice.
Sundered Eldritch Edition. Oh my gosh. I remember playing this one. This one, you should look at the screenshots just for the art. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
Okay, sorry, I got so much stuff open. This is one of my personal favorites, Super Daryl Deluxe. I don't even know how to explain it. You play as like Napoleon Dynamite in a world that's falling to pieces.
Oh my gosh! I want to.
Napoleon Dynamite saves the world.
It's
yeah.
very wacky. It has a great art style, and it's one heck of a time.
The man who knows secret ninja moves from the government.
As you do.
I see that movie 1,000 times.
And then finally, Time Spinner. This one is just it has like a 16-bit like art style. It has that it has the mechanic from going between like two places in time, like from the past and the future. And it's also a Metroidvania, and it's got a really interesting, weird plot involving like government conspiracies and other crazy banana stuff. So
cool.
Check all those out. They are at least worth trying. But you're probably, if you like Metroidvanias, you're probably going to like them.
They sound fun. And I got news for everybody. I am talking to a gentleman on X by the name of Mark Rupert, who I've done work for, and he actually founded and he founded Johnny Legs or John Luciano, and he helped Whoopi Goldberg get a break back in the day, getting her on stage in front of people. And he says he regrets doing that and wish he's never done it. They've embarrassed him the last handful of years, and he just wants them out of his life. So there you go. You can see how far the woke has gotten.
Yeah, right.
Apocalyptic.
His own personal post-apocalypse.
All right. And one last shout out for Metroidvania. I don't know if you could. It's partially indie. I mean, it's an Atari property. I've been playing Yars Rising, which is directly tied to the old Yars Revenge that was on the Atari 2600. But the studio they had do it is an indie studio called Way Forward. And I started playing the game yesterday, and I have been having a blast with it. It is a good time. I recommend checking that out. Anyway, you can find my stuff on Amazon, Haley Star Bad Kitty, and the follow-up Bad Kitty Haley's World. And yes, they are both ideas I had for Metroidvania games. Couldn't figure out how to make a game, so I wrote them as books. And, no quarters needed. But
perfect.
But then you can also find me on the X Twitter, Truth and Minds under Frequency Studios, and also on Substack. I should have a new short story coming out fairly soon. Once I got some artwork to post with it, it will be going up. So that should, I keep saying in the next few weeks. I'm not sure. It's always just in the next few weeks. Story's ready to go. Once the artwork's complete, then it'll be going up there. Anyway, if you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like, and if you didn't, I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time, and God bless. There we go.
Squeak, squeak.
All sorts of squeak, squeak. And I imagine the second book is a 2-player game, by the way.
No, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, babe. I've got to go in just a minute here. I've got to go check on my people, but you have done such a fantastic job with this, and the fact that it's going strong. And I popped in here today. I didn't know it was your 100th, and I was like, I just want to see how they're doing because I love hearing you guys talk. And whenever you want me to jump the screen, I didn't know if you wanted me on or not because I had been on.
Oh yeah, you're always welcome on.
Oh, that was so sweet of you to ask because I was like, I wasn't sure, and then you asked me. I was like, oh yeah, I love it. So yeah, whenever if I can break free, I'll do it. So just where are you sending the link, Brandon?
Yeah.
Where did you put the link?
I'll tell you in a minute. I just missed my button. I'm looking for the. Here it is.
The Jewish space laser.
There we go. Obligation fulfilled. Have a great night, everybody.